It's Christmas, but we're going to be talking about Halloween Horror Nights 2023. Let's rank everything I did from worst to best. Yes, this also includes the overpriced lanyard I purchased before the event even started. There will be video clips from inside of the houses, and Universal loves using strobe lights. So this is your flashing lights warning. Let's get to the rankings. Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. It's bad. I don't care if it's supposed to be bad, ironically, it's bad. Dr. Oddfellows Collection of Horror. This zone is way too small. Dr. Oddfellows stage was kinda cool, but that was about it. The Last of Us. This might get me cancelled, but The Last of Us was just boring. Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror. This was cool in concept, but the zone itself was just way too crowded for the one space it had, and it just felt a little slow in my opinion. Dark Zodiac Chainsaws Go Burr. I don't know what any of the signs meant. Shipyard 32 Horrors Unhinged. I hated this zone at first, and somehow it ended up being my second favorite zone.
Hey, I'm Mike. I'm Dylan. And we're The Ride Guys.
Transformers The Ride 3D. Wait, this ride was open? The Megan Dance Thing. The last night I went, I finally got to see most of the performance. I think the random moving aspect is neat on paper, but in reality, I just wish this was a stage show, or you know, a full-on Megan house would have been nice. The Fortune Teller Milkshake at Twosome's Chocolate Emporium. It was decent, but if you don't like apple pie, you'll hate this. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. It's lower on the list because they changed all the songs like 2 months ago. The Cheddar Jalapeno Hellfire Club. This is pretty good. I wish it was turkey instead of pork, but I'm biased and I love turkey. This pin. It was 70% off, so I needed it. For context, the last weekend of Halloween Horror Nights, the merchandise goes on sale progressively more each day. On Wednesday, it was 30% off, on Thursday, it was 50% off, and starting on Friday, it was 70% off on everything Halloween Horror Nights 2023. Back to the rankings. Yeti Campground Kills. It was neat because it reminded me of slasher camp movies from the 80s, but it just was not a top tier house for me. The cup sleeve, cup holder, whatever you want to call it. The design is decent, but I wish 2023 was not slapped onto it. I personally think last year's version of them were better because it indirectly indicated the year it was from with the design of the actual sleeve, without having the date on it. Pizza Fries, a classic HHN snack that I used to hate. I know, controversial opinion alert, but this year I faced my pizza fry fears and gave it another chance, and it's actually pretty solid. I had no drink while eating it, so that was fun, but I highly recommend getting it next year if you haven't already had them before. Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate. The fan service house that I personally thought was a letdown. This could have been way longer. The split at the end was 2 seconds long, and I wish it was just 90% of the house because that would have been neat to see. Men in Black Alien Attack. I would be devastated if this ride was closed during Halloween Horror Nights. Here are some of my scores that look good to people who have never been on this ride before. The Icon Cup. I only got this because the regular freestyle HHN cups were sold out in November, but this one is way nicer. This backpack, it was $7 with the 70% off sale, easy as yes of my life. The HHN house shirt. I really like this year's design, however last year's was way better, so it's lower on the list. Escape from Gringotts. I rode this way too much during Horror Nights this year.
Your soul is mine!
Dr. Oddfellows Twisted Origins, amazing icon. The house just really wasn't my style, so it was alright for me. Stranger Things 4, the Master of the Puppets scene really made the house for me. The Last of Us Ravioli. This was amazing. I hope to see more themed savory foods at these events in the future. Revenge of the Mummy. I would have enjoyed making this video. The Death Eaters at Diagon Alley. I tried so many times to see this, and finally the last night I went, they were out and it was amazing. I did miss the initial gathering of all the Death Eaters, but they were all super interactive, walking up to everyone. Universal needs to keep this moving forward. The Never Go Alone shirt. This is probably the best overall design style at this year's event. The Oddfellow shirt. I had to get something Dr. Oddfellow related, and this one does not have 2023 splatter all over it. The Exorcist Believer. Great house, by far the darkest one out of everything. I literally could not see anything walking through, which isn't a bad thing for Horror Nights.
Keep these streets clear.
Universal Monsters Unmasked. This is just a solid all-around HHN house. The mirror scare towards the start of the house was also super underrated, and the falling scene at the end, 10 out of 10. Gonna miss this one.
You give me your soul. Music is not lie.
The Darkest Deal. This house had the best story out of all the original houses in my opinion, and the house got better every time I walked through it. The Lil Boo hoodie. This hoodie is super nice. I got it when it was 60 degrees one night and it was well worth the purchase. The Lil Boo AirPod case I got randomly one day in September, and I use it every single day, so it's high up on this list now. This super sick lanyard that I will be using for my past and I will be wearing during the holidays at Universal, I do not care. Express After 11. I did this the last night I went to Horror Nights, and I was able to do everything in 2 hours for half the price of regular Express. I think this is worth it if you're willing to stay the entire event night. It's time for the things that actually made the entire event for me. Vamp 69 Summer Blood. This was the best zone by far, and the only one worth going out of your way to walk through. I loved walking through this and hearing all the 60 music, all the scare actors were all in your face, always putting your hands out at you. It was so much fun. Got scared multiple times. I'm really gonna miss this zone, and I hope they make another version of it. Blood Moon Dark Offerings was not only the best house, but the best thing at Horror Nights this year. I think if you missed this house, you really missed out. There was just so much little details that was slammed in this house. From the watchtower to the church scene, I love it all. I really wish this house could return, but in Horror Nights fashion, it probably won't. However, we could see a part 2 in the future, and I will be there. Opening night, first in line for that. Overall, I give Halloween Horror Nights 32 a solid 8 out of 10. This may seem high to some people, and that's okay. We can have different opinions on a horror attraction on the internet. Some may not believe that. For this video, I did base my rankings on post-2020 HHN events, and this was the strongest year since 2019 in my personal opinion. Blood Moon is just way too good, and if you skip that house, that's probably why your overall ranking is lower.